Hey guys, we're going to continue on, see what Red's plan is. Bongo, I said early that morning as the last stars faded like weary fireflies. There's something I need you to do. Does it involve potato chips? Bongo mumbled. You know who Bongo reminds me of? Bongo reminds me of, oh no, I can't think of the dog's name. The one and only Ivan. Bob. There it is. Bongo reminds me of Bob with those little one-liners, the sarcasm, the best friend to the main character. It just came to me. No, then I'd rather sleep. It's about Samar. You promised you'd let me sleep in. I didn't promise. You implied. I want to grant Samar's wish. This roused Bongo. She fluttered down to her favorite branch, the one she'd nicknamed Home Plate. Bongo likes to watch the kids play softball at the elementary school. Red, you don't make wishes happen. You're the place where wishes go. You're like a leafy garbage can, but in a good way. For 216 rings, I've sat on my roots and listened to people hope for things. And a lot of times those wishes never happened, I'm guessing. Bongo tucked a feather into place. Sometimes that's for the best. Remember that kindergartner who wanted a bulldozer? I'm passive. I just sit here watching the world. You're a tree, Red. That's kind of your job description. This is a good wish, and it's a wish I can make happen. Well, we can make happen. Yeah, I had a feeling that's where this was going. Bongo glided to the ground. Look, I heard Samar's wish. How exactly are you going to find her a friend? You'll see, I said, hoping I sounded more confident than I felt. Red? Bongo paced back and forth. Excuse me. With each step, her head bobbed forward. We've got serious issues, pal. Francesca's talking about turning you into toothpicks, and your residents are frantic about where they're going to move if that happens. She came close and nudged me fondly. Of course you're worried about it too. I know that. Fresh baked bread poked her head out from under the porch. It was barely dawn, and only the white strip running the length of her face was clearly visible. I'd offered to take in one of the tree families temporarily, she announced, preferably the possums. They better behave than the ewes. They're very generous of you, Fresh, I said, but I was interrupted by Big U, the mother of the 3 baby raccoons. She was in the large hollow, grumbling under her breath. I beg your pardon, she exclaimed. You and you have excellent manners. They're too inquisitive, said Fresh Baked Bread, always poking their noses where they shouldn't be, grabbing things with those little paws of theirs. Well, at least they don't stink, Big U cried, and your children have paws last time I checked. Harry Spiders, the mother possum, peeked out cautionally from her own hollow. Possums name themselves after things they fear. Stink is in the nose of the beholder, said Harry Spiders. And while I personally think your children have a delightful odor, Fresh, I've already got dibs on the woodpile 2 doors down. Should anything happen to dear Red, she patted me. No offense, love. Just thinking ahead, you know. No offense taken, I assured her. I saw the pile first, Big U cried. Share the skunk den? Harry Spiders said. I would be caught dead in that place, Big U exclaimed. Not now, now that I know my inquisitive children aren't wanted. Well, they are a bit boisterous, said Harry Spiders. At least my children have spunk, said Big U. Your kids faint when they see their own shadows. Playing possum is a useful adaptation, said Harry Spiders, her pink nose twitching. The world is a dangerous place, and in any case, we can't control it. It just happens. If I may interrupt, came a cool voice from the highest branches. It was Agnes. There's a nice-looking linden tree 2 blocks down, just vacated by a gray squirrel family. We're looking at it as a possibility, but there's a tomcat that runs loose there. Collar, no bell, so that's an issue. Also a big slobbery dog. In fairness, all dogs are slobbery, Bongo observed. I really think you should all calm down, I said. Let's not buy trouble. One day at a time, my friends. Who knows what tomorrow may bring? The mother glared at me. I heard a great deal of sighing. Too much wise old tree? I asked. Too much wise old tree, Bongo confirmed as everyone retreated into their homes and huffed. They're all a bit tense, Bongo said. Worried about your situation. I can see that. I'm worried too, Bongo said in an almost whisper. I know, I said gently, but every cloud has a silver... Red, Bongo interrupted. Sorry. There must be something I can do, Bongo said. You're a good friend, Bongo, but sometimes all you can do is stand tall and reach deep. Red! Sorry, I said again, giving all these words of wisdom. What will I do without you, Red? Bongo said softly. You'll be fine, my friend, I promise. We both fell quiet. At last Bongo shook herself, feathers fluffing. In any case, maybe not the best time to be granting wishes is my point. It seems to me this is exactly the right time, I replied. Bongo groaned, her little old man groaned. She knew I wasn't backing down, and with that, we began to plan. We executed plan number 1 an hour and a half later when Stephen headed off to school. He'd gotten only as far as the sidewalk when Bongo dove straight down towards his backpack. Poking at his zipper with her beak, she cawed frantically. When crows want to be loud, they can be really loud. What? Stephen cried. What is wrong with you? He dropped his backpack to the ground. Bongo landed on the backpack, looking up at him hopefully. Chip, please, she said. Stephen rolled his eyes. Seriously? Hello, Bongo said. Chip, please. Stephen put his hands on his hips. Okay, fine. I've seen you in action working the bus line. Bongo hopped to the ground as Stephen unzipped his backpack. You rock, she said politely. Stephen pulled out his lunch bag and opened it. Let's see. I got a tuna fish sandwich, carrot sticks. But before he could say anything, Bongo plunged into the backpack, grabbed a sheet of paper, and flew skyward. Hey, that's my English homework, Stephen cried. Come back here, you thief. Bongo flew high into the branches and landed with a victorious caw. Stephen stalked around the bottom of my trunk where the yellow police tape encircled me. Please, Crow, he pleaded. I'll give you my whole sandwich, please. Bongo perched on the paper, freeing her beak. No way, she replied. A few more minutes of grumbling and Stephen gave up. Great, he muttered as he grabbed his backpack. Mrs. Kellerman is never going to believe me when I tell her a crow ate my homework. When Samara exited her house, it was time for the rest of the plan. She paused as she always did to say hello, and Bongo, as she always did, said hello back. But this time Bongo surprised Samara by landing on her shoulder and presenting her with a mangled piece of paper. Samara took it from Bongo. This has Stephen's name on it. Why on earth do you have it? No way, Bongo said, by way of an answer. Well, I'll be sure he gets this. Bongo gave a little caw and headed back to me. Perfect, a simple plan, beautifully executed. Samara would give the homework to Stephen. They'd strike up a conversation about how Crazy Crow and the big oak tree did this. They'd laugh, they'd share, they'd realize they have a lot in common. Voila, friendship. It was a great plan, except for the part that came just seconds later. The part where Samara noticed a friend of Stephen's walking by. She dashed over and asked him to give Stephen the piece of paper. And that was that. Meddling isn't as easy as I thought it would be, I confessed to Bongo. Hey, I did my part. You were wonderful, I said. Well, we'll just have to try again. We don't have a lot of time. Red, Bongo said with a sigh. Please don't remind me. That afternoon we tried plan number 2. This isn't going to work, Red, Bongo said, strutting back and forth on the lawn. Pessimistic, I said. Optimistic, she replied. Secretly I had my doubts, though. Our second plan required help from one of the babies. There'd been much bickering over which baby would get to assist us, but then there'd been plenty of bickering ever since Francesca's threat to cut me down. It frustrated me to see my residents, the ones who'd miraculously been getting along, turn on one another and face the problem. Granted, it was a big problem they had to face, but if I could handle it, it seemed like the least they could do was behave during our days together. Bongo flipped a penny she kept in her collection of treasures, and we arrived at our helper, the smallest baby possum, Flashlight. Let me get this straight. You're afraid of Flash? Shh, Harry Potter, haha, Harry Spiders hissed. We try not to say that word around him. So what do you actually call him? Agnes asked. He answers to Flash, Harry Spiders explained. Well, Flash, said Bongo. You understand the drill, right? You pretend to be dead. You guys are good at that, right? Flash nodded excitedly. Possums are the best dead pretenders in the world. So you play dead. Samara and Stephen see you as they're coming home from school. We're hoping they come home at about the same time today. And then you freak out, Bongo continued. See the cute little maybe dead baby talk about what you do. Are you certain this is safe? Asked Harry Spiders. I'm feeling a little faint just thinking about it. Well, we'll all be watching, and Stephen and Samara are smart kids. They'll know not to touch a sick animal. So they go get their parents, call a wildlife rescue place or maybe a vet while they're busy. Bongo continued. Little Flash runs back to his den. Samara and Stephen come back out and have a good laugh about the vanishing possum. Maybe the parents even get to talking. I really think you should do a better job. Big U complained. She's a born actor. Or you, or other you. This had been officially decided, Bongo said firmly. We flipped the penny, remember? We're just saying, Big U muttered. Down the street, they're jealous, they want to participate in this. Down the street, the school dismissal bell rang. Places, everyone, Bongo urged. This is totally going to work, I said. This is totally going to fail, Bongo said at the very same instant. And action, Bongo whispered. Little Flash waddled out to the middle of the lawn. He lay down on his side and curled up. He closed his eyes. He drew back his lips, revealing tiny needle-sharp teeth. Perfect, Bongo said. Try foaming at the mouth, dear, Harry Spiders called. Down the street, we could see Stephen approaching. Luckily, Samara was just a few yards behind him. Flash leapt up. How am I doing, Ma? Wonderful, my baby, said Harry Spiders. Mommy's so proud of her little bitty possum. Be dead, Bongo cried. Oh, yeah, Flash shrugged. I kind of forgot. I'm sorry, Aunt Bongo. I'm not your aunt, Bongo said. I'm not even a member of your species. Well, that doesn't really matter, I chided in. Be dead, Bongo cried again. Flash hiccuped. Oh my, said Harry Spiders. He does that when he's nervous. How come I can't be dead, Mom? Asked Rose Petal. Newbies, quiet, Bongo commanded. Flash, stop hiccuping. Die. Here they come, I whispered. Stephen and Samar. The hiccups got louder. Look at them. Flashlight, Bongo said. Now. Don't call him that, his mother cried. Flashlight froze. He stopped hiccuping. Foam dripped from his mouth. His half-open eyes were glazed and unseeing. That worked, Bongo whispered. Brilliant. Stephen found Flash first. Samara was close behind. What should we do? Stephen asked. Success, I thought. They were actually talking to each other. Don't touch it, said Samara. It might be Rabbit, or it could just be playing dead. I read that possums do that. I'll go get my mom. Maybe she can call someone. Sounds good, said Samara. To my disappointment, Stephen and Samara nodded at each other and promptly went into their own houses. And once again, that was that. All that work for just a few moments of conversation. How exactly did people make friends? How hard could it be? Still, I reminded myself Stephen and Samara had spoken to each other, and that was a good first step. Flash, Bongo called, time to go back to your den, buddy, before they come back. Flash remained frozen in a little possum ball. Flash, I called. Flash, baby, Harry Spiders yelled. Oh my, said Big U, I don't think your baby's acting. My baby, my precious Flash, cried Harry Spiders, and Flash's brothers and sisters began to wail. You really should have used one of my U's, Big U said. Flash, stop being dead, Bongo yelled. She hopped over to Flash and gently poked him with her beak. How dare you peck my son, Harry Spiders yelled. Flash, I'll save you, baby. Harry Spiders dashed out of her hollow, scrambled down my trunk, and promptly fainted. Oh, great, said Bongo. Just fantastic, like mother, like son. What now, wise old tree? You grab Flash, I instructed. Fresh baked bread and Big U, you can rescue Harry Spiders. Pull her over to Fresh's den under the porch. Harry Spiders called my children. Boisterous, Big U said. Big U said my children stink, Fresh baked bread said. Over 2 centuries of life, and I'd hardly ever raised my voice. This was one of those times. Now, I commanded, just as the door to Stephen's house opened. You'd be surprised how fast raccoons and skunks can be when they're motivated. So I wonder what happened. I hope he didn't really die. That would be sad. So all that talk to put friends together, it's really difficult to make friends at times, and especially when you're trying to make 2 people be friends. It's hard. I'm hoping it happens because she really does need someone. So we're like cruising through. We're like halfway through the book already. I'm loving it. I hope she has more coming out. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.